A single-dad janitor covered the CEO's mouth and whispered, "Don't take another step." The shack felt smaller as the woman finished speaking. Outside, a train thundered past, shaking the thin metal walls, but inside, the silence was heavier than the noise. The little boy sat beside his mother, holding her hand as if afraid she might disappear too. The bikers stood in a loose circle, processing every word she had said. Armand stepped closer. "You're saying the company blamed you for theft after your husband died?" She nodded slowly. "They said he was involved in missing money. They showed papers with his signature. But my husband would never steal. He was an honest man." Her voice trembled, not with weakness this time, but with wounded pride. One of the bikers, Samir, frowned. "Did anyone investigate the accident properly?" "They said the brakes failed," she replied. "Case closed." The boy looked up. "Abu told Ami he found something wrong in the company files. He said powerful people would be angry." The room went still. Armand exchanged a glance with his friends. This wasn't just poverty. This was something darker. "Do you have any documents left?" Armand asked gently. The woman reached under the mattress and pulled out a small plastic folder. Inside were a few wrinkled papers, a termination notice, a bank freeze letter, and a copy of her husband's accident report. Samir scanned the report quickly. "Brake system malfunction," he read quietly. "No external tampering found." But something about it didn't feel right. Armand crouched in front of the boy. "What's your name, champ?" "Ayan," he replied softly. "Ayan," Armand said firmly. "You did the right thing today. You tried to protect your mother. That makes you braver than most grown men." The boy's grip on his bicycle tightened. One of the bikers stepped outside and made a call. Another began taking pictures of the documents. Their casual cafe stop had turned into something serious. The woman looked at them nervously. "Please, don't get into trouble because of us. He is a powerful man." Armand stood up slowly. "Power doesn't mean untouchable." The engines of the parked bikes gleamed outside under the fading sun. The same machines that symbolized freedom now felt like a promise. "We can't promise miracles," Armand continued. "But we can promise this. You won't fight alone anymore." For the first time, the woman's shoulders relaxed slightly. The fear in her eyes didn't disappear, but it shifted into cautious hope. As the bikers prepared to leave for the night, Ayan looked up at Armand again. "Sir, you didn't buy my bike." Armand smiled softly. "No, Ayan, you're going to need it." Because something had started that evening. Something bigger than a meal, bigger than charity. It was the beginning of a fight. And this time, the powerful man who took everything from them would learn that even the smallest voice, when heard by the right people, could shake the ground beneath him. That night, the bikers didn't return to their usual routine. Instead of heading home, they gathered in their garage, the air thick with the smell of oil and metal. Ayan's mother's trembling voice echoed in their minds. This wasn't just a sad story, it was a pattern, and patterns left traces. Samir spread the copied documents across a wooden table. The accident report, the bank freeze notice, the eviction order. Armand leaned over them, studying every line carefully. "Look at the dates," he said quietly. "He reports financial fraud." And 2 days later, the brakes fail. One of the bikers, who had once worked as a mechanic for heavy trucks, frowned. Brake systems don't just fail like that without warning, especially not company-maintained vehicles. Another biker made a few phone calls to old contacts in the transport union. By midnight, a small but important detail surfaced. The truck had undergone maintenance just 1 day before the accident. The mechanic who signed off on it had resigned suddenly a week later. "That's not a coincidence," Samir muttered. Armand's jaw tightened. He knew the businessman's name well. Everyone did. He donated to charities, sponsored public events, and appeared on television as a respected industrialist. But powerful men often hid their darkest secrets behind polished smiles. By early morning, they managed to locate the former mechanic. He was reluctant to talk at first, fear obvious in his voice. "I have a family," he whispered over the phone. "I can't get involved." "You don't have to testify yet," Armand said calmly. "Just tell us the truth." There was a long pause before the man finally admitted it. The brakes had been tampered with after inspection. He had noticed something strange, but was ordered to stay silent. When he questioned it, he was threatened. The garage fell silent after the call ended. "It was planned," one biker said softly. Arman looked at his friends, his voice steady but filled with resolve. They destroyed that family to protect their money. They thought no one would care. Outside, dawn began to break, pale light filtering through the dusty windows. The roar of engines would usually signal freedom and adventure. Today, it felt like preparation. They weren't reckless men. They understood the risk of challenging someone so influential. But they also understood something more important. That injustice grows when people stay silent. Arman picked up his helmet slowly. "We gather proof," he said firmly. "Solid proof, and we make sure it reaches people who can't ignore it." For the first time since meeting Ayan, their anger turned into strategy. Somewhere across the city, the powerful businessman was waking up to another normal day, unaware that a group of determined bikers had begun pulling at the loose threads of his empire. And this time, those threads were starting to unravel.